Guys, stop apologizing for being proud of yourself. Sometimes people that talk to me, they'll be like, oh my God, they'll be like, I'm sorry, man. I feel like I'm just talking about myself. I'm like, hey man, listen, it's okay to believe in yourself around me, buddy. Okay? You're giving me hope. When good shit happens to people, I get hopeful. Cause that's the positive about being selfish.
Welcome to FredTalk, where if you're not learning, hopefully you're laughing.
Big kid energy. Welcome to the FredTalk podcast. I'm your host, Freddie Valoy. Today's guest is a very special guest. He is my neighbor, and he is writing an awesome comic book called Robo, and that's why we're having him on today. Jesse Kepler is his name. We started hanging out and drinking and talking about comic books. And if you guys know anything about me, I'm a fucking nerd. Now, Jesse, I would say is of a higher nerd than I am. Like, right? Let's use Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu belts, right? You got the blue belt, which is the first belt. Then it's purple, then brown, then black, right? I would say I'm a blue or purple belt nerd. Jesse seems like a brown to black belt type nerd. So we have really good conversations. He's super critical of comic book work and things like that. So we get into his early days, how long he's been into comic books, when he wanted to write it. This is great for anyone that's been toying with that creative thing or that thing they want to do. Like, you can just get up and do it. Write your book, do your comic book, do your short film, just write the script, just get up and do it just for fun. Jesse is the art works great in this, and the themes in this comic book are very relevant. You know, we're talking about capitalism, social media, bullshit media. We talk about it in the body of the episode, but it's post-apocalyptic without really, like, it's not in your face, and it's very Black Mirror-ish in the way that it's one of those things where you're like, oh, this is super fucking creepy, and also I could really see this happening. And also, like, is this actually happening now? Where the fuck are we? It's such a good story. And I enjoy hanging out with Jesse. He's one of these people where we disagree maybe politically on things, but I can have an open discussion where I'm like, oh shit, where we can be like, oh, I disagree with you on this, but I see where you're coming from, because you can tell his stuff is very thought out, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate anybody that tries to bring nuance into conversation. And also, Jesse can hit the range, because he can get silly with it too, and you see all that in the episode. I really tried to capture what it would be like to just sit down and hang out with us while we're sitting out back in my patio talking comic books. So this is a sign, if you're listening to this and you have that thing that you've been wanting to do, go fucking do it, all right? Go do it. If this episode don't hype you up to do it, hit me up on Instagram video. I'll give you a fucking pep talk. I'll push you over the ledge with it, all right? Metaphorically, obviously, right? Ain't nobody trying to catch a charge, right? Guys, without any further ado, give it up for my very special guest, Jesse Kepler. Hey. Oh, that's me clapping. This sounds like something else. All right, here's the episode. So, Jesse Kepler, what qualifies you to write a comic book?
Starting with the hard stuff.
Oh yeah, we're coming in hard and fast.
He tells me before I get on here, he's like, "We're just gonna hang out." Yeah, and he hits me with the hard one. What qualifies me to write a comic book? I've been reading comic books for a really long time. I think probably since like 6
years old.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Almost as soon as I could start reading. And I was actually at Dragon Con 2 weeks ago, and there was a panel of, I described it to my friend as old heads from comics complain about the industry. And one of the guys was talking about this obscure comic that he like cut his teeth on. And I was like, that was my first comic book. It was called Justice Machine.
Oh, damn.
It was an early independent comic book that I don't think anybody other than me and that guy had ever heard of.
What was the theme of it?
Fucked if I know.
So at what age were you like, I want to write my own comic book? Like,
so I used to make like comic book characters or even like comic strip characters when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
It was a funny story. My dad had a friend named Nelson who, showed up once or twice when I was a kid. Your parents' friends. They're people that you know of, but they're not real people.
Yeah.
Anyway, I created a cartoon strip called Nelson and Friends. And it was just these silly, it wasn't about my dad's friend, but they were hanging up everywhere. Like my mom had them on the fridge and my dad had them in the shop, and his friend comes to visit and he's like, why are you guys making comics about me?
Oh my gosh. He probably thought you had a fetish about him or something like that.
Yeah. And I just got back from therapy, so we're almost done with that phase of my life.
The Nelson era. All right, dude. Yeah. By the way, super cool that you're writing the comic. That was like, when you told me that, I was like, that's fucking awesome. I read the first issue and I really love it. And I'm going to give my little thing. It's like a post-apocalyptic kind of thing, but it's more like capitalism is fucking everything up. Is it right?
Yeah.
It's been a few weeks since I read it, but where did you get like the inspiration to write this storyline? Or explain what it is. And then give me the explanation.
Man, from life.
Just look all around us, man.
Yeah, no, the microphone makes me want to say like momentous things. I like that you picked up that it's post-apocalyptic, because that was one of the things I really wanted to do with the story is my feeling that in a way we already live in a post-apocalyptic world.
Because it's not like, when I look at it, it's not like people wearing skulls on their head or anything like that. It's what society could grow into, but the fucking mindset is just, you're like, this is completely crazy, but totally realistic. It gives you that like Black Mirror vibe.
Yeah. That gives me so much pride that you get that. That's what I'm going for.
Oh, fuck yeah. Dude, that's awesome.
It's not like The Road. Have you seen The Road?
No.
It's Liam Neeson and his kid, and it's just like being sad for 2 hours and 15 minutes of just struggling.
No, it's not that.
Yeah. In The Road, there's nothing. Like, it's all garbage along the side of a road. And, they're going to shoot this guy and his kid's begging him not to. And there's all this dark shit. But that's how our media that we have had in recent years portrays, a post-apocalyptic world is everything falls apart. But in reality, it would be a lot like we have, just everything keeps getting worse.
Yep.
So that's a little bit about like where I was coming from to create the story. And I love all kinds of cyberpunk. I like, Ghost in the Shell is probably the biggest influence on this series. And Altered Carbon, which is on Netflix, is another great one. Yep. I read that years and years ago as a novel and really love the concept. And I've read, tons of William Gibson and Neil Stephenson, and they have books that are also inspirations on this. So I wanted to fit in a lot of that. And the original character, Robo, is one of those childhood characters of mine. I made him up when I was 10 or 11 because I wanted to draw robots fighting.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. So you have another issue coming out soon, correct?
I do. I have a Kickstarter going right now. We passed our goal this morning. So it is definitely happening 100%. And everything, that I make past this is it's all gravy. But
yeah,
it also, like, my mission with continuing to do Kickstarters is I want more people to find the book.
Okay.
My friends have been super supportive and excited about it, which is great for me. But I can't ask everybody to pay $25 for a comic book every time. So ideally, there would be 400 people who were excited to read Robo, and then they could pay cover price and everybody would get their comic and I would still make my money back from making it.
Oh, nice. So how does that work? Where do they find the Kickstarter?
So you can either search on Kickstarter.
Okay.
You can just search for Robo and one of the three will probably pop up. You can go to moosecatcomics.com or moosecatcomics on Twitter, Instagram. And you can go to facebook.com/robocomicbook. I couldn't get Moosecat Comics there. I don't know why. There's apparently another Moosecat Comics out there somewhere.
Can you put a link in your bio on Instagram to lead you to one of those things?
Yep.
Yeah, you should do that.
It's got that. It's actually a link tree right now.
Okay.
But,
so you already have it up there? Mm-hmm. Oh, perfect. Hell yeah. All right. So yeah, I would go link in the bio for people to hit that up. Okay. So I feel like your comic book, I don't want to say talk shit but like it shows where capitalism can go should it be unchecked and not tempered by some other sort of thing.
Yeah. And that,
how did you think the capitalist mindset person, how would you think they would read this book? Like, or what would you hope to get from them if they dive into this book?
oh, like someone who's a true believer, Adam Smith is my idol.
Yeah.
I think that this is what I want to happen. I want them to read, an issue and see something and be like, yeah, that's how we should do it. That's great. I like that. I like that these people who aren't working, they don't get anything.
Yeah.
And then my hope is I'll be able to carry on the series long enough that person who feels that way would be like, well, hey, wait a minute. I don't like what's happening here. Why is this happening?
Yeah.
And it develops into a compassion for them, for people who didn't get lucky. Because the main character in my story, he got lucky. He got lucky like me. I mean, I work in tech and I didn't go to college.
That's
super fucking,
yeah,
super fucking lucky. But, and of course I started writing this comic when I wasn't working. So there's another little caveat to it. But the goal is to eventually show, the system is working great for people who are lucky. And that's, it doesn't look like a post-apocalyptic world. It's shiny and it's beautiful and they have these amazing technological advances, but just beneath them are people who are like starving to death.
Yeah.
Or selling their bodies to get food because they can't even sell their bodies to get property.
Holy shit. So there was I'm a capitalist. I like it. It just works for me. But we've talked about this before. But there is a scene in the first issue where I'm like, I don't want to ruin it for anyone, but as a capitalist, I was like, oh damn, that's some fucked up thing where he like moves the water. Oh, dude. Yeah. You please, if you're listening to this, please read this book. It's awesome. I've only read the first issue, but I love where it's going to go. And are you dropping the third now?
Yeah.
Okay. Third issue.
But you can get the first through the third on the Kickstarter. You can also get them off the website if you have some sort of moral objection to Kickstarter, but
why would someone have a moral objection to,
I don't know, man.
You never know these days. Yeah.
But you never know. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, so some people, Kickstarter is a little difficult for them to figure out, or another friend of mine was like, I'm not sure how much to give you. It says I can give you more. And I feel weird about that.
Yeah.
The answer is obviously $100, dude. $100.
All right. So the capitalism piece, post-apocalyptic,
and we can spoil stuff, Freddie. The art is great.
Okay.
The writing, I like it, but the art is also fantastic.
The art's amazing. I just saw the cover for issue 3. I was like, holy shit, dude.
Oh, my sister did that.
Really?
Yeah, she did that one. It's Art Nouveau style.
Yeah.
With technology. So the reference piece that I found, I was like, maybe you could do it like this. It's like a woman and she's by like a trellis of flowers and vines and it's all beautiful. And
yeah,
my sister did such a good job like turning it into this really weird dark vibe instead.
Oh, that's cool. That's pretty cool that your sister did it. Like as a brother, you'd be like, fucking, I'm proud as shit. Like,
yeah. That's just one of my favorite artists.
Oh, that's so cute. I didn't know I was gonna get the warm and fuzzies this one, Jesse. You're doing it for me.
Yeah. I just throw in something good there after shit talking capitalism.
So the person that's like more for socialism, how would they feel like reading this book? So
I kind of want the same thing, but I haven't quite decided how I'm going to get there. One of the things that I like when I think about these supercharged big philosophical ideas is there is usually a reason why people like these things, or why they simp for capitalism, why they simp for socialism or whatever. There's a reason. And the better you understand why they want that, really, not the fake made up, like they just want shit for free or just because they're already rich kind of reasons, the better you're able to really make change if you want to make change.
So what would that look like for someone who really wants socialism or capitalism for the reason? How does each of that look like to you?
I think, for the capitalist person, it's going to be like, what would it be like if you weren't lucky? because a lot of us were. And that's
Yeah.
a difficult concept. It's difficult to imagine the whole world being different from the very beginning to present. And I think for somebody who was a little bit more socialist, it would be about like, how would it feel if you worked really hard for something and you didn't get to like really benefit from that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, that's going to be my hard challenge because obviously I'm that guy.
Yeah. You're a
And
communist.
so
You're a commie. I tell people I have a commie friend named Jesse.
oh, really? Okay. That's going to be dangerous when the death squad start rolling through the streets, Freddie.
Well, you'll be on their side, right? When China takes over.
No, I'm talking about the other side. You know, if they start hunting
Oh yeah.
people like me,
Yeah.
just so you know, I can hit your house from my balcony with a Molotov.
I've
before
already
they get me.
I've pledged allegiance to China already, so I'm already I'm learning Mandarin. I'm even learning Cantonese just for fun.
Well, and I think, you know, I would say China is a big influence on the things that I'm writing because China is a dystopian world.
Please explain.
So China's got, have you heard of the like social karma score or social credit score?
I have, yes. Explain what that is.
So China uses the data that they keep on their citizens because they have a centralized. See, now I'm worried I'm going to get something wrong here.
No, we're good. Go ahead.
So because everything is centralized in China, the government can get access to all the data that's kept in businesses, which means that they could put together a program that says, we don't want people who make poor medical decisions to have jobs in the medical sector.
Oh, damn.
And the government can say straight up, these people are not employable by your businesses. You know, the regulation is if they score below a 600 on their medical social credit score, then they can't be employed there.
Why is that bad?
Good question. Because I don't know exactly. Actually, I'm gonna venture a guess on this one.
Yeah.
But like, what if you don't know how your score is contributing? Like, what if you don't know what dropped you below that threshold?
Okay.
And you just get fired.
Yeah, like who says they're even judging the correct things?
Yeah.
And also someone's poor health decisions doesn't necessarily, like I would trust a fat trainer like to train me because he has the knowledge and you know, to keep me accountable. To me, it's like, do I feel bad letting this person down? That's where the accountability is for me. If you have muscles or not, I don't really, I don't know.
Yeah. Your knowledge doesn't necessarily line up to your practice.
Yeah. I feel like that could close doors for people, something like that. That's why it could be bad. It could inadvertently and unjustifiably close doors for people, maybe.
Yeah. And so I don't know enough about China. I'm really speculating here. I don't want to get canceled by China.
I think we're all speculating when it comes to China, but we know some weird shit's going on.
But if I was designing this system as a flawed human, I would put in some of my flawed beliefs. I would put in biases.
Yeah.
Same thing that we argue about here in the United States. Hiring practices at a tech company with all white guys. Why do they always keep picking the white guy?
Yeah.
Well, it's just because, we're not doing it on purpose. We're just like, oh, yeah, I kind of like that guy.
Yeah.
He's like me.
Yeah, it is weird because there's a lot more Indians and Asians you could hire that are smarter, more efficient.
There's a lot more Indians than Asians. Period.
A lot more Indians than Asians or
Indians and Asians.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They're the second best people on the planet. This is a comedy bit I'm working on. I don't want to get into a rally. I don't want people to think that
You stopped me for a second there, Freddie. I was like, fucking defend that motherfucker. Who's first?
The Mexicans. Here's my
fucking defend that motherfucker.
Mexicans are number one.
I just got canceled.
No. I used to say because here's the thing: the continent of Asia.
I just unsold every comic in Los Angeles.
The No, this is actually good because Mexicans are number one, and there's a lot of Asians out there too. So these are gonna help sales. But no, yeah, Mike, it's a stupid comedy bit I had. People have to tune into the solo episodes to hear the rest.
Okay, I'll just sit here and look bad until the next episode comes out.
No, I'll explain. All right, so Asians have the continent of Asia has the best food, right? So we have to do all things considered here, right?
Oh, okay.
Asians hardworking, family oriented, great food, but they don't tell their kids that they're proud of them. So that's why they lost the number one spot to Mexicans, because the Mexicans, they have food, they have fun, they love their kids for the most part. They have their work to do, and they're family oriented as well. The Mexico is actually, the culture is what the United States tries to market itself as, but isn't actually.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
So
now one question.
Yeah.
Did you write this bit right after coming back from therapy talking about your parents?
About well, my mom says she's proud of me, so but that was something. Yeah, maybe it did. The bit did happen after therapy. It was because now I'm going twice a month.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my stupid bit on that. And then back to Robo. What are we talking about? Capitalism, communism,
China, social credit.
Yep, social credit score. Okay, what are some other things going on? And I'm interested because you like socialism, but then some people argue like, oh, socialism is just one step closer to communism. Is that true? Is that like?
Again, not super qualified to answer this really.
Yeah.
But the way that I think of it is, back in the 1920s, they would say the socialists in America, which was a much larger group, they want to seize the means of production.
What does that mean?
So, let's say you want to make a new kind of sprocket, since we're going old timey here. You take your plan and you got to go to a factory. Now, the businessman, the capitalist, would buy the factory or build the factory and then profit off of that forever.
Yeah.
And if the workers own the means of production, then you contract with the factory and you say, you got to make my sprocket. I'm going to pay you this much per sprocket. And they'd say, okay, we need a few cents more per sprocket to meet our costs, to pay our workers, all that.
Yeah.
So, in a way, it's more like art, where you don't own the artist. You don't just get all of the work that they make. You contract with them for the art. Now, at its face, that can look bad because then the artist has to take care of his health insurance. The artist has to take care of his disability. And usually in those cases, the workers are forming a collective anyway to build or own the factory that they work at. So again, disclaimer, I'm not like a scholar on this stuff. As I said before, I didn't even go to college. But to me, that feels like people would end up with more agency in their lives.
Okay.
If you do a bad job and all of your coworkers who you've known for a few years are like, Freddie, you're kind of fucking up.
Yeah.
It's coming from your friends instead of some heartless corporation who thinks of you as a replaceable sprocket.
Yeah, yeah. All right. And I like this. I like and does that, what you just say with that chunk that you just said there, is that played into your book? I'm sure it does. Like
that's not in there at all.
At all. Okay. Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, it's you said.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, okay, so we're going to get off this topic for just a second. When you start making comics, they say, start small. Do like 4-8 pages. If you're going to do a whole comic book, just do one. Keep it to 24, maybe 28 pages. Don't do a whole graphic novel. Don't do a series. Well, I did a whole book and it's an ongoing series and I don't have an end in sight.
That's why I like you, Jesse. You go against the grain. You truly, yes. This is why I like you, dude. This is
I like
awesome.
the way that you put it, that it's going against the grain,
Yeah.
not just doing everything wrong.
No, because sometimes I feel like I've been a sucker to just like, oh, well, let me do it this way because this guy that's also good did it this way as well. Or like they're telling me to do it this way. And then I realized like I should have done it just the way I felt was going to be the right way because I'm, I go through my own thing like that. So I really do admire that about you.
And the thing that I have to really focus on, especially at this point, especially during a Kickstarter campaign, I started doing this for fun.
That's great.
And I have learned through 2020 and parts of 2021, there's really not a good path for it to become any sort of career for me. Unless Netflix, you're listening, you want to pick this up, sell you the rights relatively cheap, but I need to be able to live on them forever.
I feel like that's the gold mine right there. That's what you want.
That's pretty much the only way.
How do you make that happen? You got to reach out to somebody from Netflix? You got to know somebody?
I got to do podcasts with comedians, and then their comedian friends in LA will tell their friends at the studio, hey, you should read this comic. And now I don't know.
Maybe the half-baked bit.
I think that is actually the way, but I think it's also a total crapshoot.
Yeah, yeah. But I feel like today the artist has a lot more power with, what is it, like Patreon or,
seize the means of production.
Yeah. Is that what that is?
In a way. I mean, I'm self-publishing.
Yeah.
I don't have to go through Marvel or DC or even, Dark Horse to get it printed.
Yeah.
Cheap enough that I can do it. I can distribute. I'm not distributing to comic shops, but it is something that is available to me.
Yeah.
So those avenues are open, and self-publishing, there's like a break point where self-publishing, you're going to keep making the most money doing it that way. And then after the break point, the really big time, a publisher would help you.
Okay. All right. Self-publishing. So if somebody wanted to start to write, because I didn't even think, I was listening to you tell me you wrote yours, and then I listened to this other comedian, Kurt Metzger. He like draws and stuff. Like he's an artist, and he was talking about he was writing a comic book with somebody else. And I was like, man, it'd be fun to write a comic. And then the other day you had said you'd be open to writing one with me. And I was like, that's fucking cool. Like, I didn't even know that you could, well, I guess I just realized that you can just get up and write your own shit.
That was what happened to me. I was sitting on the couch over there watching a documentary about the guys from Image Comics. And I was like, I could just do this. I've got money now.
Yeah. Like you can just start drawing and you write the book and all that. All right. So, for somebody that's like, oh shit, I can draw, or I'm a good writer. Let's say someone who can't draw but is a good writer and wants to write a comic book. What's something what can they do? What's some steps they can take?
Start small. Do like 4 pages. No, the advice that they give you is you should start small.
Yeah.
Write a 4-page or an 8-page comic to get you used to the idea of like writing with paneling. As Scott McCloud, the author of Understanding Comics, says, like, get your pacing down, like go moment to moment or scene to scene, those sorts of things. And that'll get you used to like the idea of writing a comics page. And that's why they tell you to start small.
Okay.
I also would recommend like finding some example comic scripts. I think it's comicexperience.com has those example scripts that you can look at. And then, if you really don't want to like work totally on your own and like manage it all, which is the least fun part, you can sign up for an anthology and do a pitch and hopefully get accepted there. However, it's easier to get started by finding an artist, freelance, hiring them to draw your script, and then pitching that finished product that way.
To the anthology?
To an anthology, or, I mean, if you're really a big shot and you've got a great thing on your hand, you can pitch it to a publisher and they might put it in something else that they've got. Or at the Old Heads Complain About the Industry talk, they said, do a couple pages on some unused Marvel or DC character and pitch it to them, and maybe they'll use it to fill pages that aren't filled by somebody else.
Are you a part of the Old Heads Complaining?
I am old, and I do complain. but I'm not in the industry really.
All right. So
and I do have a head. So I fill all the criteria on paper, but not really.
You just, you're there more in spirit than anything else.
Yeah.
All right. So if we were to write a comic book, what would it be? Let's brainstorm real quick. Okay. Let's do a couple minutes.
We shouldn't use the idea from earlier and make it seem like we just came up with a genius idea right away.
Which one?
The let's see. It was the people who see the invisible aliens that have always been on Earth.
Yeah. All right. So this is.
I should have just stolen it.
It's
should have just stolen the idea.
It's an alien race that's been coming here since like, I don't even know, World War II, whatever. Maybe the nuclear bomb was like a signal for them to come here. Their world is dying. They're on Earth, but we can't see them. They have buildings and people and all that. And we can't see them because they're on a different frequency. But them coming here has led to more cancer. And that's the reason for our cancer. And that's where I left off, right? Okay. It was like, all right, so... Yeah.
So that's our premise. What do you want to do for a main character type?
Can we tie it to...
Here's a better question to get there is, what's the message that you want to tell?
Can we tie it to people being able to discuss high stakes things?
Like confronting trauma?
Confronting trauma, talking about politics, religion, and... us at maybe at the beginning we live in a world where we can't do that. I don't know how we tie it in, but then we're able to have like civil discourse.
Yeah.
Or like,
bleep all this out. Cut this from the podcast. Let's just talk about the idea. I think that's a good idea.
Right.
So, cause then like, you meet the alien who inadvertently killed your dad with cancer.
Oh shit.
And it's not his fault. He didn't even know. He can't see you either.
Ooh, he can't see you. Oh,
they can't see us and we can't see them.
Dude, that's so deep. Oh, that's cool. Oh my God.
But that's like confronting trauma, right?
Yeah,
like, yeah, the person that hurt me didn't even know they were hurting me.
Holy shit, dude.
There we go.
Yeah.
See, I told you to cut it from the podcast. Now everybody knows.
Oh, that's freaking awesome. Yeah, let's talk about that. All right. So what else you want the listeners to know about Robo? I'm going to be pushing this hard on my social media and all that when the episode comes out. Yeah. And I need to read the second issue still. So, yeah.
So it is, all right. So we got to this almost twice already, and I'm going to say it this time. Yeah. I've been working on like elevator pitches.
Yeah.
So I like to say that the comic is about, what society expects of us because of our job versus what we want to be related to our work. And then work in this way is how we live our lives.
Okay.
And then the other one that I use is it's about how work defines and destroys us. Like it breaks down who we are by forcing us into the box that we're supposed to be. And let's see, what was the other one? There was a third one. It's not coming to me.
And this, because in the book you make a funny thing about the productivity thing, which is right on the nose. I think it's a little kick in the balls to like hustle culture and all that. And like, how are you spending it? That guilt of like, if I'm not doing something, I'm like worthless essentially. So I love how you play on that. And there you play on a lot of relevant things on like a society level and then like a people level, like just like a, government.
Yeah.
Like it's so good, man. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. So that was the third one. You reminded me of it, which is, it's gone again.
Yes. I don't feel alone. This is, it's okay, Jesse. Productivity, how you spend your time, you feel worthless. Oh my God, the guy.
No, Freddie, it's just syncing up with the voice in my head. Try to say something different.
The guy with the, what is it? The guy that can sleep. He's like, there's some guy in there that can sleep. I just feel like you're making fun of Tony Robbins in there somewhere, and I fucking love it so much. Like it makes fun of like the self-help thing, which that culture. Yeah. Although I love it, I love the self-development movement. It needs to be made fun of. I think
you're talking about the guru to teach you to sleep less so that you can work more.
Yes. Yeah. And it's marketed as like this like great thing.
It is a great thing, right? It's totally a great thing. Why would you not want to work harder for your boss?
And be more productive and more output and more and more and more.
They're not going to just ask more from you next year.
You know what's interesting about the
different this time.
The corporate piece is that with social media, people can't check out of work.
Right.
So now the thing that people put themselves out as it's even though social media is like, oh, be authentic, this and that, but like you really can't when you have someone that your boss watching over you or even your friends, like
I mean, your job asks you for your social media account sometimes now. They want to know who you are online.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's scary, man.
What does that have to do with like if someone's just partying or like out with friends, like that's one thing.
Selling
like,
feet pics.
That could be she's an out of the box thinker there. Like
if it's a guy, dude.
That's true. He's a visionary.
Yeah.
He's breaking stereotypes.
Just trying to Me Too you on your own podcast there.
My grandmother ran out on my mother, and I feel like that's super progressive because usually it's the men that run out.
Your grandmother ran out on your mother?
Yeah, when she was a kid.
Oh.
She left the family for a little bit.
Sorry,
I took the conversation.
No, I got it. I was like, they broke up?
No, she just left.
She left
for a few years and then came back. And I was like, I feel like that's progressive.
I think that happens more than we think it does.
And why is it worse when the mom does it than when the dad does it? That's kind of sexist inherently, right? Even though I feel like it's true. Just two guys talking about being a mother here. Just
hashtag qualified.
Yeah. Well, I was
no, I think that would be awful.
Right?
I think it would be awful. I mean, if your mom is terrible.
Yeah.
She's just a garbage human being, which happens.
Yeah.
But she leaves. It's bad because not only is your parent gone, one of your parents is gone, which is always hard.
Yeah.
But like everybody around you is either saying, wow, it's really horrible your mom left. I can't believe like how much worse that would be than if your dad left, who you love because he's the one who stayed.
Yeah.
But also just like everybody expects that it's your dad that's gone.
Yeah. So it's like double hard. Yeah. It's like
everybody's telling you that it's even worse, even if it was a net positive for you.
Yeah. Holy shit. See, this is why I like throwing things at you, Jesse. You roll with it.
Yeah. It just came from therapy.
Oh, nice. Did you do you can talk about therapy like tours, like Vietnam. I did a tour in I did a tour in mother, mommy issues. What else we got? What do we got? Robo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The AC kicked off like right when you said that. And
that was weird. I was like,
getting into the serious part now.
Question about that. In Infinity War, when Doctor Strange
Go ahead.
There's a scene where Thanos' ship, that wheel is or the Maws on that ship.
Oh, we're talking about the movie. Okay.
In the movie.
Because the book is right there and I'm looking at that. All right, go ahead.
In the movie, he stops the wind, which I thought was like,
stops the wind.
There's like wind and noise coming off of the ship.
Oh, okay.
And Doctor Strange does this spell to like quiet the ship and then stop the wind, which was like cool, I guess, but also like, I feel like he can do more. I don't know. Do you remember that scene?
I don't. Oh. But now I want to think that it like turned off the AC and everybody's just like, dude, it's hot in here.
That's what I thought.
Running the engines, man.
That's what I was thinking about when that shut off. I was like, all right, I guess he did something. Like, I don't know.
All right, so let's talk about Robo again. Because you were asking about like,
you said China has an influence in this thing.
Yeah, I mean, again, going back to my joke of it's life, man.
Yeah.
It is kind of everything. And, met up with an old friend the other night and I was telling him about it. I said the thing about it's how work defines and destroys us. And he was like, this dude's angry. Because he was there when I was quitting my job.
Oh, yeah.
Hearing how angry I was. And I was like, yeah, it is about that. It's about how I'm mad about that. So, Freddie, what do you do?
You mean like for my passion or how I make money?
Ah, good answer. Because usually when you ask somebody, what do? They'll tell you what their job is, how they make the most money.
Yep.
And I feel like I'm gonna be there at the moment when somebody says, what do you do? And I say, I'm a comic book writer. Before I say I work in computer security. Even though that's totally gonna always make way more money.
Yeah. So do you tell people now you're a comic book writer?
No, tell them I'm in computer security.
Okay. That's going to be cool when you finally tell people I'm a comic book writer.
Yeah. I used to see this girl and she was working at a grocery store, but she was an artist. And so she was kind of getting close to that break-even point, like nearly 50-50. And she met up with an old friend and he was like, what do you do these days? And she's like, oh, I'm working at Trader Joe's. And I was like, no. She's an artist. She works at Trader Joe's for health insurance.
Oh, yeah. Especially if you're doing 50-50, you're an artist. Yeah.
Yeah. She just wasn't there yet. She is now. But like, that's kind of what I'm going for when I say like work defines us. Mm-hmm. And then the other part is what you were talking about, your favorite line about the guru who helps you stay up later so you can work harder. That's the part where work destroys us, that hustle culture.
Yeah.
It's bad for us, I think. It's bad for me.
Yeah, I feel the same way, especially when it's not towards the thing you're here for, like your comic book, my comedy, whatever that is. If you're doing it for somebody else for the wrong reasons. Yeah. That was when my depression started, was when I was like, the first year I made 6 figures, I was like, fuck yeah. And then I was like, I thought I was supposed to be happy. What happened?
Nobody ever told me money can't buy happiness.
Yeah.
Wait, they did. Why were they right?
It just exacerbated my poor spending habits, and then I was even more anxious. Like,
now what if the money stops?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So now
I can't cut my own toenails again.
Oof. Yeah, dude. I'm glad I got out of that whole thing, and finally, I did the Dave Ramsey thing and got it together. But this book kind of reminds me of that shit. Like, like what if the money stops? Like, what if the
So the main character, some bit about the world for people who haven't read it. In this future, corporations have replaced governments, and as much as you may think that your government doesn't do anything or should be smaller or whatever, you're a citizen and you get certain things from being a citizen. You get to be here. Like, you live here. This is where you are. You get the police to come to your house. You get the fire department to come and put your house out if it's on fire. So in the future, when corporations are governments in this world, you don't get those things unless you're a shareholder.
That's right. Yeah.
So the main character works for a company that does defense, which would essentially mean like having a membership to the police service. So if you don't own a share of this company, good luck defending your property. I mean, you can set up a security system. You can sit there on the porch with a shotgun. You can do it. Some people probably do it in that world. But you also have to own a share of the territory corporation. The city itself is a territory corporation. And if you don't own a share there, you don't have a right to be there.
Oh, shit.
So if somebody says they don't like you and they have pull, then the security corporation that they have a partnership comes with just forces you out of the city.
That's so, dude, there's a stupid thing I say in my act when I'm just riffing on this type of thing where I'm like, retirement, you're going to need like mercenary money. You're going to need money to not only feed your family and take care of all that and hopefully be able to get water, but to be able to hire a team.
Pay some young people to protect you.
Exactly. Yes. Some freedom, whatever that is. Like, yeah, you got to have that. You got to have a lot. Yeah. I feel like that line that you got to be over to be okay is like, it's going up faster and faster.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know.
So that's like the premise of their world is this extreme wealth concentration situation. And so the main character, he's a lucky guy. He gets tapped to be this guy Robo, who he thinks is a superhero, but is actually a PR tool for the defense company to make them look good. And, he thinks his job is save the city because that's what the slogan says. Robo is the protector of New Chicago.
Yeah.
But his boss is like, show up to the sales meeting, make these robots I want to sell look good, and stop telling me like you're sad that a bunch of people died in some disaster. Like, I don't want to hear about that. That doesn't affect our bottom line. So that's his struggle. And he knows, because he grew up in this world, that that's the right thing.
Yeah.
And that's probably my biggest struggle, because I don't want to just come out and say it in the comic, is that the people who live in this world, they already believe that this is the way that the world should be. Just like we believe that all the things that happen in our world are pretty normal. Mm-hmm. They don't have the imagination of like, what if it was different?
Yeah. You can already feel in the first issue, there's a lot of conflict within the main character. You're like, oh, something's bubbling here. I don't know. I can't tell where it's going, which is a great sign.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to read future issues and all that, man. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have to push myself to make sure I get back to that, because that is my main storyline. I've gotten a little bit off sometimes, like getting into the intricacies. The big one that I really like, that a lot of people seem to find interesting, is the brain giggers. These are people who, they probably don't have any other means. So they get an implant that lets them sell processing time on their brain.
Oh shit, dude, that's a good one.
So it's cloud computing.
Yeah.
On your brain.
Yes.
And it's also gig work. It's driving for Uber.
Oh,
because that's what I was going for there, is like,
so creepy.
What if you had so little means that you had to drive for Uber, that you had to take that ride when it popped up on your phone, that you didn't have a choice? And that's, what if this thing comes in, turns off your conscious brain, and uses your brain for some processing power for like 5 minutes, and you didn't get a choice of whether or not that was going to happen?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's the big plot.
That's creepy. That's so creepy. Yeah, that's like like we said earlier, seems possible.
Yeah.
Seems almost like they're already doing it in a weird way.
Yeah, you signed the end user agreement.
Yeah.
You signed up for this, Freddie.
Oh, shit.
And that's the other thing. Like, in this world, everybody's got that implant. It's the fashion piece. Like, it's your navigation. It's your
Apple Watch.
Yeah, it's your Apple Watch.
It's like, hey, look at this cool thing I got that, like, yeah.
What if your Apple Watch just pinged you and said, you have to drive somebody to the airport?
Yeah, that's
right now.
Holy shit, dude.
I don't care that you're having sex with your wife.
It's like
now
cyber slavery or something. Like, just like, yeah. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Or we'll deport you.
Holy shit. Well, I guess this is the whole world. This is its own, my bad. I'm thinking something else. Yeah, no, I'm just excited to see where it's going to go, man.
It sounds, I was gonna let you fish for future spoilers. None of this is actually written yet, but you said the whole world. The whole world is not always like this, and that's something that I want to explore.
Okay.
Again, like I was saying, the characters in this world, they believe that this is the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I was talking about earlier, like, understand people who are different from you and find out why. I want to take the characters through that. Like, they talk about the empire, which I've got this idea about, like, Japan being one of the few places that has a centralized government, but it's also kind of back to imperialist Japan, which is problematic.
If you did that in the book,
imperialist Japan was a pretty grim, near fascist, but also monarchy place.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that, like, my inspiration for making that Japan is that Japan has a really cohesive culture. And I think that in the event of the rest of the world falling apart, that they would want to keep to that. And so, part of it is me being a geek about, like, world history and politics and what would happen if Japan were to go back to that. But also, it's a good way for me to play off, like, what about these people who believe that the world should be divided by corporations meeting up against a singular imperialist, like, power?
I like that juxtaposition too, because I feel like Japan's one of those cultures that's really good, probably the best at keeping their traditions while also being in the future at the same time.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool to see how those two things interact in your book.
Yeah. That's going to be like issue 13.
Oh,
that's
nice.
way in the future.
Yeah.
I haven't even planned how I'm going to do that yet. But my artist is from Argentina. And I was talking to him and I was like, hey, I want to have Robo go to South America in, probably from 7 to 12 and do some stuff down there about what's happened. And he was like, okay, that sounds cool. And I was like, yeah, I want to do like, they've restored the rainforest and they're kind of responsible for the climate down there. So it's important. It's strategic. Mm-hmm. And the corporation is sending them down there to like get a foothold. And the artist is like, hey, so just want to make sure you're not going to do like American comes and saves the day, right? Because that's not cool. And I was like, no, actually I want to do American comes and fucks everything up like we did.
Yeah.
So I can't say that he said, okay, cool, because we have to discuss it more.
Okay.
But he's going to be my check on that. Make sure I don't make any stupid white guy mistakes.
Yeah. That's good.
But that's another thing. Again, it's like I'm a world history buff, but I also want to tell this cyberpunk story of there's a resource. So use technology and use this, destabilized world to get it.
Which destabilized world?
The world of the comic book.
Okay.
And our world, Freddie. I'm just always talking about the same thing.
It's about life, man. It's about life. It's about life. I met a kid. He's like 20 something years old at Men's Warehouse. Nicaraguan kid says he hasn't been home in years, still because of that whole thing with the Sandinistas and all that. I didn't know that was like still. I know that was a thing in the 80s and all that, but like
people don't stop fighting, man.
It's crazy, bro. I felt so bad. I was like, I'm sorry you can't go back to your country. He's like, it's all right, man. Like,
yeah, I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I could tell you some stuff about Sandinistas, but I don't know anything about the situation in Nicaragua.
Not right now.
I have to assume that he probably can't go back because people are still fighting.
Yeah.
Because people don't stop fighting.
What? Yeah. One of the aliens going to come.
Then we'd just fight them forever.
That's true, but at least we can all get together,
As soon as we win against the aliens, it'll be right back to like Northern Ireland.
What does that mean?
I'm too dumb for that joke. Like it wasn't really a joke.
Oh,
no, it was a total half-ass. It was, as soon as sorry, what I should have said is the Troubles, and then all of your British listeners would have been like, yeah. No, I just mean like as soon as the external enemy is gone, the aliens are defeated or whatever, then we go right back to making troubles between us.
Between us, yeah.
Yeah.
Conflict is a constant, it feels like.
I mean, I grew up in a super small upstate New York town. Mm-hmm. I never even like saw an Asian person until I moved away at 17. I'd never seen an Asian person in real life. There was one black family. I don't even know why they were there. They just looked scared all the time.
Really?
No, they were. I think actually that they were like, moved to this area to like give them an escape from something, either persecution or whatever.
Really?
And I just interpreted it as like, these people don't want to be here, which they probably didn't want to.
Did you guys have like industry up there? Like
Fuck no.
No? Okay, yeah.
No, it's just a farm town. But the point that I was trying to get to is we found other ways to divide ourselves.
Yeah.
In a community, a small community where you literally could know everyone, of white farmers who were almost exclusively Christian. Well, that guy's Polish.
Oh, yeah. Damn. You guys are doing that early 1900s hate. That's like...
That's all we had left, man. That's all we had left.
That's the intra-white people beef.
Yeah.
Then the Italians come in. It's like, whoa, those guys.
I almost did it. I almost dropped something horrible. Just coming out of you went for the youth. You're like, let me hit him there. He'll say something fucked up that way.
I love the angling for the cancellation. It's like or protecting.
It's cancel chess.
Yeah,
you should. That's what you should do, Freddie. Get other comedians on. And to just like bait each other into saying something horrible.
We do. We just,
So what do you think about the Jews?
So my mom, I did a last season of Date Live, my dating show. It was sponsored by Diamonds Direct, owned by some Jewish dudes. And my mom was like, she was like, I'm so proud of you, my son. She was like, she goes, you killing it when the Jews are fucking with you. So keep it up, my son. I was like, I mean, she's right. You're doing something right when the Jews are fucking with you. So shout out to the Jews.
Oh no.
Yeah. So
I have a heavy German heritage.
what does that mean?
Well, I'm half German.
Yeah.
And I'm blonde haired and blue eyed. And so I really be careful about my Jew jokes.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's just like instant stick.
Yeah. You have to overcompensate. You got to be, you did bring over some matzo balls for me.
Yeah.
You were like,
I make challah bread.
Yeah.
That's actually not a lie. That I just do that. I like it.
Is that love challah bread? Don't they make a lot of hamburger buns with that?
No. Potato bread for hamburger buns.
Okay.
But in New York, I mean, you can't get French toast that's not on challah bread because it is great.
Love challah bread. Yeah.
Egg bread soaked in eggs.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
Can't beat it.
That's why I make it.
Jesse, where can people, do you have anything else about Robo? I feel like we covered a lot of deep topics.
I'll just say like the Kickstarter is going right now. We've met our goal. We've got 2 weeks left.
Nice.
You will get your comics. And the art is fantastic. I do have a new artist for the 3rd issue. As I mentioned, he's from Argentina. He's great. He brings a lot of energy to the book. And he's award winning. He's been doing comics almost as long as I claim to, but he's actually been doing it professionally for a long time. So the art is fantastic. We got a variant cover, one by my sister, one by him. There's a lot of cool stuff on there. It's worth checking out.
Hell yeah, man. Where can people find you on Instagram?
Moose Cat Comics. Moose Cat Comics.
Moose Cat Comics. There you go, guys. Subscribe, rate, and review. Share my shit. You guys have been sharing my stuff, and it's working. I'm getting like people coming over to shows, listening to my podcast, hitting up TikTok. I got a fucking hydra of shit going on comedically. So just support one of those things, and you'll be making the world a better place. I don't know. FredTalk podcast. Jesse, look into the camera. Say bye. Bye.